Hi guys, it's Blake. Ooh, got that rough voice going. Nothing that a small little Hershey bar won't fix. Just finished supper. Wolfing it down, trying to get in here in time for the live. Now I am trying different light. Let's see, that looks better. Jeff, good evening to Newfoundland. Max the Fish, hello. Say, can you see? Hello there. Max the Fish. I am doing pretty good. I took those of you that follow me on my social media, I took a stupid fall the other day. I went to step on Monday and I stepped half off of my porch. You know, where you got the edge. Instead of sitting like that, my foot landed like that and rolled off. And I ended up going a head over tea kettle back at that angle and ended up banging up my leg pretty good. I hit on the edge of the concrete step and rolled. I live, but it just, one of them dumb, stupid moments when you're laying there going, God, that was stupid, Blackie. But, it's just part of it. We got to age gracefully, and some of us don't ever do anything gracefully. So, Randy, hello. Ken Albridge, hello there. Your boy, howdy. Well, counting the days, hello to Eastern Washington. Cool. Charlie, good evening. Hello there, Bear. Brother Bear's in the house. 2020's here. Jeb McLeod. Blue Bandit, hello there, Louisiana. Yeah, I'll spare y'all my leg. It just looked like a scratch. But it's one of them things that when you hit on that sharp edge of that brick and start rolling over, I felt the bone start that like it was about to go, and I just relaxed and went with it and stopped trying to push against. So I think I probably got a very minor, boo-boo on the bone. Other than that, it's not broke like compound broke or anything, but I think it's got like a stress crack in it. So I'm having to be careful twisting, just walk straight, pick that foot up, point it, don't do any twisting action on it. I've had broke bones before, so I know what to do. I Gear Boy, I posted on my Facebook. I'm Blackie Thomas on Facebook as well. Mark Stewart, good evening. Ralph Williams, good evening. James Singer, good evening. Oh, Monk, what's going on? It's finally cooling off. We're having mornings in the 60s down here. That is awesome. I've been trying to get up and enjoy it. Prepared for. Hello there. Lonnie, good evening. Jonathan Gabriel, yeah, getting old is not for sissies. Freeman, hello to Missouri. Okay, Rick, hello to Reska, Georgia. Howdy. Vejo, hello there. Guardsman 134, hello there. Thank you very much. Well, now that we've got fall temperatures blowing in, I really wish I would able to go to the gather thing up in West Virginia. That's this weekend. And I wanted to go to it, but tomorrow I have a doctor's appointment. And so I've got to be there for them to, do all their stuff. They're still doing the test on me they're amazed at how well I recovered from my stroke. And they're still wanting to just look at me. They're trying to figure out how I did it. Like that, God did it, not Blackie. So, but they keep poking and prodding, trying to get samples of this and figure out that. And so I got to go back in tomorrow. And I'll be in there for a couple of hours, or it should be just a couple of hours. But we'll see. They always warn you, you may be staying overnight. Just be prepared. Okay, we shall see. But anyway, they're having the gather thing up in West Virginia. And that was a good event. I enjoyed it last year. I know Dave Canterbury's at it. Jay Hercules is at it. Jesse and them's at it. A lot of cool people's at that one. And I'd have really enjoyed going to it if I didn't have a conflict. You know how it is. Sub MOA, what are they doing for your CHF? CHF. Okay, I'm drawing a blank on that one. Okay, Gear Boy, you found me. Awesome. Oh, cool. You about to get you a 51 out to the range. Good. Man, it is. They have improved light years compared to what I remember from the 70s and 80s and even into the 90s. The quality of the guns are much better. They're much more accurate right out of the box. You saw my square back 51. The first group I shot with, it was only like that high, which it should have been like 18 inches. I was really impressed, and it is held up very well. And there will be more shooting with it coming along. Jim Peterson, all the August run. I am missing a total of 5. Have not gone out yet because I'm waiting for that box of rucksacks to show up. All the others are out. And so they are en route and should be there very soon, Jim. But I'm just waiting for 5 rucksacks to show up. That's the only ones left. Tim, hello there to Washington, North Carolina. George, hello there. Mark, how is Grouch? Doing amazingly well. He went to the doc. He was wanting to bug him and say, look, I want you to fix my knee. Give me a new knee joint or something so I can walk. And they went in and looked at it, and they told him, there's nothing wrong with your knee. We can do some stuff, just give you a shot of this and a shot of that. You got swelling in it. Get that swelling down, and you should be able to walk again. And so he's all gung-ho for that. And he was telling me that he's going through a couple of procedures, and just as soon as they get that done, if he can walk again, as far as distance, man, we're going walking. You're going to be coming down here and spending a week with me, and we're going to walk. And I'll be going down there and spending some time, and we'll go to the cabin, go up and down that hill and stuff like that. I remember, 10 years ago, he wanted to do ruck marching. He wanted to carry a rucksack. He said, I'm lonely. I want you to go with me. I'm like, okay. So he put 45 pounds on his back, and we did a 5-mile hike. I was a wuss. I only took 25, But here he was in his mid-70s, and that old Marine just keeps going. So I hope to very soon be able to do some more video with him. We're just trying to get our schedules to line up. Anthony, hello to Edmonton, Alberta. Justin, hello, Bubba. How you doing? Adam, hello there. Feel good. Thank you very much. Glad to be here. Charles McKinley, sorry to hear that. Hope you're getting better. Number 1 Big Bear, hello there. Tad, hello to Pennsylvania. Yeah, Justin, those shots do tend to bring you down just a little bit. Celtic Balls, hello there. Hello to Dax. Hope you're doing well, Striker. Richard Hayes, hello there. Yeah, the other day I was talking to a friend of mine, and he's talking about how he's out of northern Ohio, and he's saying that they're having really good cool mornings and stuff, and how he's planning on getting his canoe outfitted, and he wants to go back and start canoeing like he used to do. Oh yeah, he was making me homesick for the paddle, to get out there and paddle. I had said I'm gonna do it. I went out, and me and Mike Simmons at this last time we went to the lake. I took my canoe and he took his, and we got out and puddled up a little bit. And I'll be carrying my canoe to my gathering this year and getting out and playing in the water a little bit and fishing, etc. But that lake down there, it doesn't officially have a name, and I've kind of given it the name Windsong Lake because the wind is always singing down there. Even in August, there's a breeze. It's one of the reasons I like going down there, because you get air moving. You know, you're not sitting in just, oh my God, oppressive heat. But it's always got a breeze on it or something. And when we had my gathering, a strange thing occurred, because from the shoreline to where I was camping and the people north of me was probably, I'd say, about 75 yards at most. And I lay down and went to bed, and everybody above me had gone to bed. And the guys down at the water talked about wind was howling through like 50, 60 miles an hour, and their tarts were flapping like crazy, and they were having to get up and hold the tarts. And I was 75 yards north of them, and I never heard or felt anything, and nobody above me heard or felt anything. So it was just that column of wind went right through there for about 25 minutes, and it quit. It didn't do the top of the lake, just along the edge of the lake. So he was telling me, and looked out at the lake and said it was white capping. How is it y'all not knowing about us? We slept through it. I never knew it was even there. William says, good evening. Loving the in-depth Captain Ball videos. Glad to do it. That was my percussion revolver class series that I did. It was a paid-for type thing that I'm now publishing. There's quite a few of those coming. So, and yes, I am awful close to 100,000. We're less than 500 away. Anthony, are the Civil Wolf pins available? Yes, they are still available. And my niece, Heather, does them. That's a real nice little multicolored wolf. But that is, let me grab out her card right quick and give you that one. Yes, I have a lot of cards here from a lot of different people. And of course, the one you need to be the one that lays down flat and doesn't show up. There it is. Tinkering Around Crafts. Hold still. It says Tinkering Around Crafts at gmail.com. And then it's Tinkering Around Crafts KY for Kentucky on Etsy. And she's the one that does that. She does the hats. She does all the t-shirts, all the merch stuff. That's her. She is really good at it. And if you've got some sort of need for t-shirts for your group, your church group, your baseball team, whatever, get a hold of her. She can make them up like that. She is really impressive. Blackie, what are your thoughts on the 51 Londoner with all steel? I really like that. I like the brass frame, but the all steel frame, my 60 One Navy Stormborn is a steel back. It's a Londoner. And I really, really like it. I like the look of that. I really do. Charles Martin, did you have trouble uploading the butt pack video again? Yeah, I did. And I went back and updated my YouTube account, and that seems to have fixed it. But I just unloaded and reloaded YouTube, and that apparently helped a lot. But, this is the time of year. Usually it's right after summer when a lot of the big names like Windows and everybody else, they start updating their stuff, and you don't know anything about it. I guess either A, trying to get it ready for Christmas or whatever, or B, they're just trying to push new sales. Like I got an old Windows 10 unit is the operating system I'm running on mine. They keep saying, "Oh, we'll load you Windows 11 for free." I don't want Windows 11. I want Windows 10. I'm happy. Leave me alone. And no, we're going to upload. It's ready to go. We keep uploading it, and I keep saying no. Stay with 10. So me and the computer and the big boys kind of argue a little bit from time to time. If you had one WC knife, what would it be? Woodwork, survival, camping, everything. It would be my Blackbird. I love all the knives he makes, the Gray Man, etc. I like all of them. But the Blackbird would be my first choice. It does everything I want with all those curves, be able to pull and do stuff on wood. I can do crafts with it. I can clean fish with it. I can butcher game with it. I can survive with that knife real easy. And so that would be my first choice. How do you make holy water? Boil the hell out of it. True. Striker, how's your health? Doing really well. I'm actually improving, and I'm very happy with it. Randy Beeson, good evening. Gray Wolf, having to make springs for your Rogers and Spencer? Oh boy, that's going to be fun. Oh yeah, when I show it the skin and tip or whatever, there's a lot of trust and a lot of experience for them where that tip of that knife is. I'll put it that way. I got you. Say by my way. So far, we're hanging really well. I'm not having a big problem with it. They After my stroke, they put me on this medication that was a statin, and my body weight went up by 40 pounds in 4 months, and I never gained weight. And I went to the doctor. And I said, something's got to give. This is not acceptable. Oh, you got to take. No, it ain't, because I've got congestive heart problems and I can't be gaining weight like this. And so we have danced around with several of the choices, and I have lost 22 pounds. I'm trying to lose back to where I was, but thus far the congestive heart failure is doing really good. It's the least of the worries. I'm just taking it day by day and just keep going. Correct. Every time they update stuff, they break stuff. I agree. I want you to notice something. Now, this is just one of them old cheap Walmart phones. And unlock it and show something. Look at how long. 7 days, 6 hours remaining on that battery charge at 90%. 7 days, 6 hours. Okay, here we are in September. Next month, that'll go down to 5 days. In the end of October, it'll go down to 4 days. In November, it'll go down to 2 days. And in December, it'll go down to 1 day, where you can charge it all you want, and it'll say it's only good for 1 day. And it will discharge as fast as everything. Why are they doing that? Because they want you to buy a new phone for Christmas. You're having to charge this one all the time. In February, it'll go back up to 5 days, and by April, it'll be back up to 7 days, and it'll hold a charge for 7 days. That's a 5+ year old phone. But when we get into the Christmas cycle, it starts saying it's like they're manipulating you. They're telling that phone what to display and how often. That way, those kids are using the phone all the time. They're having to replug that thing in every 45 minutes. Go, man, my phone's wore out. I need another phone. This won't hold a charge. And they get you to buy another phone, because it'll go right back to 7 days and actually hold a charge for 7 days. So, Andy Knight, good evening. Tennessee Smoky, good evening. Harold, hello to Northern Virginia. Oh, mainspring and the tiny handspring. I hear you, Gray Wolf. Good luck with it. Wrangler Star guy is a good guy, but a lot of his stuff he does for shock value. And so if he gives a negative review of something that is very popular, many people will watch it because it is a negative review. Making money on YouTube, you can do it as a negative. Okay. If instead of just sitting and complaining, let's say Coca-Cola, you do a video saying Coca-Cola sucks, blah, 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 it causes diabetes, whatever, prove me wrong. And you'll get tons of comments. Because how you make money, one, watch time. How long do they watch the video? And this is something you find out in advanced psychology, that if you do not agree with something and someone is putting forth an argument against something that you agree with, you'll listen to what they say because you're waiting to respond and counter them. So you'll keep listening. So they get a lot longer playtime. That's one. Two, comments. You'll go down in the description box and go, you're a jerk. See? And third, it's audience participation. If it's bad enough, you'll share it. Look what this jerk said about Coca-Cola. And so from a negative point of view, they can make money in reviews that way. See, that's a negative channel. And they can attack whatever, and do that. So you're going to have people out there that's going to, anything that's popular, well-made, respected, somebody out there is going to attack. There's been people who attacked me, and made quite a bit of bank by bad-mouthing me. And I knew that's what they were doing. They don't really care one way or another about me. I was popular, so therefore we attack it, and therefore you'll get that. And they did a video with my picture for the thumbnail, my name in the title, and that way you haven't watched my channel in a week or two. You've been busy, and Blackie produces a lot of videos, so I pumped out, say, 3 or 4 videos since the last time you watched. You get a little bit of time, you sit there and you start watching my videos, and you go down all of them you haven't seen. Well, the algorithm knows that you've watched every one that I've got available that you haven't already seen. But this other video by this other guy has got my name, my picture, and so it will hand it to you in your next playlist, hoping to hand you something you like. And then this guy badmouths me the whole time. You're going to sit there and listen to him because he's just badmouthing. You're going to then comment like, God, you're a jerk. And then you're probably going to share this on thing going, look at this guy attacking Blackie. He gets a payday. It's a psychological attack. So you'll find that against the WCSK, anything that's a little different that they can do, because the people in the knife community, many of them know and respect William, and many of them don't like the design because it's just too radical for what they're into. And so therefore he's playing with that. So wish him luck. Hope he makes a lot of money. Okay, I missed something. Okay. Carlos, hello there. Gerald, good evening. Oh, cool. Mountain Man Hairface shooting a 45 Kibler. Awesome. Charles Martin, yeah, and they're doing it is because my name's popular. I'm in the top. Usually, I'm in the top 20. A lot of times, I'm in the top 10 of all bushcraft channels on YouTube. And if you do a search for the top 60 bushcraft channels to watch in 2025, there's a list. Dave Canterbury's going to be at the top or in the top 1 or 2. And then like T Outdoors, etc., Sean Kelly, Cole Cracker, Matt Mercer, etc. And there's going to be a little mix. And I'll be somewhere usually in that top 10. Where they get that list is not by sheer popularity, because like Dave's got like 800 something thousand followers. Sean was over 1 million. I'm just a little bitty channel, about to be 100,000. It's where they see comments on videos, social media, and everything about that person's name. So Dave Canterbury's name, Sean Kelly's name, Blackie Thomas's name comes up, and they're producing that list of the top 60 for advertisers that are looking to sell their products in this genre. These are the guys that people listen to. These are the popular guys you want to talk to, is what they're doing. I don't participate in that. I never asked them to do that. They come up with that based on my popularity in the community as a whole. See, I have no say to doing that. But because of that, me being in the top, those anti-channels, they're going to jump on it too, because God knows they're jumping on Dave and Sean and everybody else. They can make $1 doing that. Just like you can say, Ford, God, the worst vehicle ever built. The people that love Ford will attack you on it. The people that hate Ford will agree with you. Either way, you get watch time, how many shares, how many comments. The requirement to make money on YouTube. Tennessee Smoky, I'm glad you're enjoying my Master Woodsman series and Ground Pounder. We got more of that coming up. Oh, Carlos, hope you do all right. Hope that storm doesn't bother you. Gearboy Forge, you're right. They want to cut it down to like 5 or 10, and then they can focus their money on that 5 or 10. They don't like, God, I think in bushcraft, I think they were 60,000 channels last year. I think when I saw that, 60 something thousand bushcraft channels on YouTube of all kinds of name and denomination. And so they would love it to just say at least 5, because from an advertiser and etc. point of view, they want it, this little group right here, so we can focus all our money right there. But you, the audience, ain't that way. You like the people you like, and you enjoy the people you like, and they can't force you to like somebody. Lucky, have you used a military rucksack or 3-pack in the bushcraft? In which one do you recommend? I have used all of the above. Now, if you're looking for a surplus bag to look for that I prefer over the Alice, get the German Alpine rucksack. Really, really like that bag. It fits best to me. It's got the pocket in the back for the pad to slide into to make a soft frame. It's got the 2 big outside pockets on it. Off to the outside of it, they got pass-throughs through them, so you can pass the handle of an axe or something through it. The flap comes down. I add, if you look right over my head right there, that little speck of orange up there, that's one of those packs where I put a pocket in the top of the flap. And before I developed my rucksack, that was my primary rucksack right there. And so look for those. Those are really good rucksacks for bushcraft. Oh, cool, Gray Wolf. What caliber was it? Or what are you going to bore it out to? What size smoothbore are you going for? Sub MOA. How many paper cartridges do you get out of a coffee filter? Ooh, the way I was making them, around 8 to 10, depending. Usually 8 to 10. But the good thing is, once you've nitrated them and they're good and dry, you can keep them. Those don't go bad. Just put them in something airtight, seal them up, and you can keep using them to make all along. Oh yeah, you're up in a 1 wind, and the mid 50s going to be tonight in Indiana. Awesome. Old Ranger. I am not familiar with Old Ranger. I will look that up and see, because I enjoy watching other people's black powder revolver videos as well. Could you recommend a flintlock rifle kit? The I Love Muzzleloading channel here on YouTube. That guy is very knowledgeable, and has built several kits on board that channel. That's who I'd recommend you go ask and see, because my knowledge is a little bit dated. I've been out of living history quite a while now, and I've still got my flintlocks over here, but I haven't built a flintlock in 10, 12 years. And so therefore I don't know what's currently available and out there. I don't want to send you wrong. So go talk to him. He does builds on his his YouTube channel. I Love Muzzleloading. And I think he'd be the better source to ask. Yeah, exactly, Charles. They're doing them just because it's a popular topic. Scott Carlson, you camp without a night light. What is the most frightening story that occurred to you at night? Was it the turkey landing on you? I'd say the top three was the turkey landing on me. The second one was I got woke up by a thunderstorm, and it was pretty heavy lightning going on, raining fairly heavy. And then I saw about this 12-foot alligator walking by my camp. I don't mean like on the belly, I mean up walking like they can do. About 12 foot long, and it was passing within 5 feet of me. In the flash of lightning, I could see it clear as I could see the screen. That was a pretty good one. And then there was a night that we had just laid down. I was part of a group, and my camp was about 20 yards away from everybody else's in a nice little clearing I liked. And we had all agreed to go to bed, and we got in there, and I had just got settled in and got my covers up around me like I wanted that. 1, 2, 3, and this bobcat screamed. I mean, like right under me. I mean, where it hurts your ears, it's so loud. It was like it was up under the tarp with me. And yeah, Blackie kind of levitated a little bit. Who wouldn't? But those are the 3 times I can call to that was pretty bad. You just had to grit your teeth and keep going, because nobody's going to help you. You got to do it yourself. Ground fog, hello there. Michigan Silverback, you're in time. Glad you made it. Yeah, good one. Gray Wolf, yeah, at least make it a 45. If you got enough meat there, make it a 50 cal. Lonnie in Far North Bushcraft. He does good. I've seen several of his videos. Love to hear his voice. Got a very good voice. Have you ever used cast 45 ACP bullets in a 45 caliber muzzleloader? No, I haven't. I know what you're talking about. They're 4.51, but 45 caliber rifles are 4.51 bore, but you use a 4.40 patch ball in it. Now, the Lee real bullet is designed to fit in there, and you could technically put a 45 ACP in there and ram it down. I know what you're talking about, but it had to be soft lead. Otherwise, it won't catch the rifling worth a flip. It's got to be able to deform out and grip that rifling like a mini ball would. Tennessee Valley muzzleloaders. Yes, they make good stuff as well, Bear. Thank you. Always wanted a Jaeger in 54. I wanted a Jaeger in a 62. And I bought from a big name, reputable gun maker a transitional Jaeger in 62. And I saw him at the Southeastern Rendezvous, and I paid him half down. I told him I could build the dang thing, but I wanted the gun built better than I could build. I wanted the gun in the white, but everything put together. I wanted a sliding wooden patch box on it. Put the full size stocking Jaeger. And he agreed, took down what I wanted. I sent the money. And 6 months went by, 8 months went by, a year went by, a year and a half went by. And I called him up and said, any word on my rifle? Because whenever I had originally spoken to him, he said about 6 months. And I'm very understanding, but, and he had a slight drinking problem. And when the gun did show up, of course, I was real excited about it. And I got it out of the box, and it was in the white. It was a full stock, 62 caliber barrel. Had big old round face lock on it and everything. And that was the last weekend in November. And the very next weekend, I was going to be at Woodsmoke, which was a Boy Scout living history camp that we put on every year back then over here in Andalusia area. And Grouch was part of that, and he would bring me along. And so me and Grouch were going to be getting up and doing a talk. So I took the gun with me, one to show him, etc. Got there, did our bit, went great. I never even put a flint in it, never even tried to spark it. Got home, now it's in the dead of winter, it's January, after Christmas. Okay, now I'm going to dig into doing this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the gun back apart and finish and stain the stock and brown the barrel and etc. Do my little touches on it, right? When I pulled the barrel out and I looked up under the barrel, the entire bed where the barrel goes was split the full length, and he had epoxied it back together. Had a thin piece of linen running and holding the two halves of the piece of stock back together. Now you got to understand, I had paid $1,000 for this gun. That was the first. Then I went to try to test fire it. I got the gun back together. It wasn't finished yet, but I got the gun back together, and I was going to go out and test fire, because before I finished the barrel, I wanted to see if I got to file the sights or whatever, leave it in white, shoot it, etc. I went to load it, and you went down about that far down the barrel, and it's like you just hit a gravel road. It was like, and then you'd pop past it. And I ran a bore brush up a couple times. Maybe it's just a little surface rust or whatever. Groups the size of a trash can at 25 yards. They were not even going to the same place. They were just everywhere. And I took my bore scope and I looked down the barrel, and about that far down the barrel was this huge chatter mark where the rifling machine that had been making the rifling had kind of broken and done like that. And so the rifling just kind of stopped there, and it was just ragged, and then a rifling from there up. This barrel was a second. It was something that should have been cut into smaller pieces and used the good parts further down in this bad section. So the stock was split. The barrel was a second. It fired 4 times, and then it quit firing. It wouldn't fire at all. The prison made no sparks after that. So adding all this up, I called up, and I got a hold of his wife. He wouldn't take my call, but his wife picked up. And I said, okay. The stock split. The barrel is a second. There's no way this was ever a first. And my frison's dead soft. And when I got the lock out of the gun and looked at all these scratch marks, I said, this is the tri-lock. Which means when you're building these guns in series, this model, so to speak, you'll use this lock to inlet, and then you're going to pull it out and put one brand new out of the package in the gun to actually sell it. So this tri-lock is like the test fit lock that you're going to use to inlet every time. So this is the tri-lock, isn't it? And she finally admitted, yeah, that he was teaching some guy who paid him a bunch of money to teach him how to build guns to build my gun. So the guy I hired to do it never built my gun. He got this first-time kid that had never built a gun and let him build my gun. It's like a class project. And it was a second barrel. Yeah, I was a little bit upset. So, therefore, I build my own guns now. Andrew, good evening. Sorry for going off on my tangent. Gear Boy, speaking about bumps out in the night, what's your favorite way to keep a sidearm handy in a hammock? I put mine over my head on my ridge line. So it's right up here. All I got to do is just grab it. I take and put the holster. Mine you can unsnap and it will come up. So it kind of comes out from the round, the belt loops here. And it's got a snap that goes around. And I unsnap it and bring it up and just snap it onto the ridge line. So I anchor it where it can't slide down the ridge line. It'll stay right up here above my head. And so I can just reach up and grab it. When I pull it, the holster will pivot and I can pull it straight out. That's where I put it. On a ground pounder, it would typically be right beside my head on whatever I'm using for a pillow. I'd put right there. And if I'm toting a long gun, like a shotgun, I'd take forked sticks and put it sitting there as a quick grab right beside me so I could grab it. And there have been times I had to grab it. Gear Boy Forge, yes, I quite often will tote a shotgun. Bear, we're not using names. Wiley, Kentucky Camper, hello there. Yeah, well, good. I'm glad the 777 works for you. Cool. The first model hand ejector is an antique, even if it was made out after 1898. Like you said, comrade, as long as the frames themselves were made, it counts. Yes. Two guys in the Ozarks. Good evening. Terry, glad you made it. Yep, Andrew, I hear you. And that's the thing about it. A lot of these big designers and builders, they've made their money and make a really good product. And I knew several of big names. But at the same time, there are also people out there that are just doing it for a paycheck. They may have got famous. They may have really enjoyed it, may have loved it. But after a while, they've got burned out. Now they're just throwing the parts together. And so that's the reason I prefer to build my own. Rendezvous in Laceyville, PA. Cool. Jerry, yeah, we got some pretty good stuff going tonight. Danny, good day to you. Did you have more bears or raccoons go bumping tonight or something else? I've had a little of all of it down here. We have large deer population, so you've got big hog Russian boar that's up to 1,000 pounds. There are black bears. There are mountain lions. The black bear and the mountain lion are super skittish, and usually the first good whiff of you, they're gone. So they're not a big problem. Boar is a problem. They'll walk right up to you, and they have one form of defense: get rid of you. And so they'll charge you, and they got 10-inch tusks, and their hide is 1 inch thick. Not even a bear or a mountain lion will mess with one, an adult. So they can be a trouble. But I've had snakes fall out of trees and land on my mosquito net before, where I didn't have a tarp over me in a hammock. I've looked up and had a snake go thump and land where it was in a tree trying to get a bird or something and fell out. I've had deer. I've had nearly got ran over by a cow a couple of times, where the cow would get out and be running wild down through the ditches or whatever, and you just happen to be there, and here comes a cow or a horse. You know, I told the story of I'd gone to a friend's land, and it was a big farm, a lot of, trees and stuff like that, pastures, and there was about a 200-yard strip wide of good timber, nice water between pasture A and pasture B. Well, all the cows were up in pasture B, and so I had got down there and got close to the water and set up my little tent down there. And about 5:30 in the morning, right at dusky dawn, the farmer came into the other pasture, and when he opened up that gate, which went, and they knew he's bringing food, about 50 or 60 head of cattle come stampeding through where I was at in that tent. I'm just lucky they didn't stomp me to death, because I didn't think about a cow. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff can get you out there. But most time it's going to be a coon, a rabbit, possums, There's always something out there, always something moving around. It ain't necessarily a bad thing, but it's something you just got to be aware of. And I have had many people say, Blackie, what do you do when you hear those sounds and you're not sure what it is? What do you do? Well, the most effective deterrent I have found yet is to rebel yell at the top of your lungs. Yeah! Make as big a noise as you can, and 99% of them will take off running. On the other hand, the 1% that don't, that's what the gun's for, if it's a problem. But I have, me and Roger, he wanted to see wilderness, so I took him into some really thick stuff. We had to hack for nearly an hour to get in there. And then his hammock and mine are only about 10 feet apart. And about 2 in the morning, and just a little bit of moonlight to see, I woke up because I could tell something was moving. And I watched an entire pack of coyotes walk within 5 feet of Roger's camp. He was laying there asleep, and they just walked by him, cutting around the edge of the water. Next morning, we got up, I showed him the tracks. They went by. They weren't going to mess with nobody. They just coming through. They come through here every night. We just happen to have a hammock up now. Most time they'll leave you alone, whoever they are. Can you make a blind that is portable? Absolutely. Go look at my Being Sneaky series, and I talk about jungle knots. It's just bank line tied with loops, okay, where you take 2 strands of bank line and go so far apart and just tie an overhand knot, okay. With that, I hook to the tree and just stuff brush into it, and I make a blind on camera in like 5, 6, 8 minutes, and then walk around behind it and sat down, and you can't even see me as long as I don't move. Those are the hasty blinds we carry. It's just a piece of bank line that's made into jungle knots. And we'll hook it between 2 trees and then stuff brush through those loops to hold it up, and then sit behind it. That way you can poke a gun through it to shoot. And we use them for quick blinds for turkey, deer, things like that. So that's something you carry in your pocket. You just pick up the raw material around you and stuff into it. Do you keep a light in your camp at night? Does that eliminate any critter problems? I keep a flashlight close to me that I can turn on if I need to. And usually I'll have a lantern, a battery-powered lantern or whatever that I could turn on if I truly needed it. But I carry in my pocket one of these O-lights. And with that double clip on it, I can hook it to my hat. I can hook it around the necklace I wear around my neck to shine down at my feet. I can hook it to the ridge line, or on my one-wind hammocks, they've got that cargo pocket up there that's mesh on the outside. I can drop it in there and have instant. I can turn it on and face it straight down and be able to lay there and read if I need to. And just reach up and hit the button and turn it off. And it's got multiple settings, and it goes up to 1,000 looms. It's rechargeable. And so this I will normally have with me. And so usually I don't worry about it. If I hear something, usually anything big enough to bother you will wake you up. Your natural senses kind of like wake you up. And so you just lay there and listen a minute, and nothing is silent. Only in the movies can a T-Rex walk by quietly. Trust me. And people ain't got a lantern, and even when they do have a lantern, man walks through the woods like a stone drunk mastodon. He makes so much racket. When you become attuned to the woods, you can sit there and you'll hear somebody a half mile out making noise. It's no big. They ain't sneaking up on you. Whereas animals and stuff, they got to walk on leaves and stuff too, and so it'll attract your attention. And unless you're on some sort of ground that doesn't make a lot of noise because of what it is or whatever, usually it'll wake you up. And when it does, like I said, if I think it's something like a deer or whatever, I'll whistle or make some low human noise to kind of gently nudge them off. That doesn't work, rebel yell top of your lungs. And if that's when the light comes on, and to make sure that this is going to go right. Yeah, Scott, cougars, bears, and stuff, whenever they see a tent, they think of a rock or a solid wall, where in reality, that's not going to stop them. One claw, they're coming in. But there's tons of videos on YouTube of people being inside a tent and a bear's nose pushing up against the tent. You can see the bear's nose because he smells food, and he's like, and he'll come up. My good friend who just recently passed, Critter Crane, he was a geologist for the state, and he was doing a bunch of extra work, extra education, and they had sent him to Alaska, and he hadn't slept in like 3 days when the bush plane came down on a creek up there and just slid across the water and up onto a sandbar and offloaded him. And he told him that everybody else would be there tomorrow. Well, this is during the summer, so the sun don't go down. It ain't gonna be no night. It's daylight all the time. And so it said like 23 hours is whenever the others would be arriving. And so he just set up his tent. He was so exhausted, and he flopped down and he went to sleep. And he said, I half woke up to the sound of something, messing around with my pack that was just outside the door. Well, where he had been in Northern California for the last month and a half prior to this, I think it was Northern California, but raccoons, big old raccoons or skunks, had been messing with his stuff. And he just grabbed his camera and stuck it out the unzipped door and triggered the flash. And so it's going, taking pictures, and that thing's going pop, 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 that super bright flash. And he heard a calamity of something took off. And he just put it back down. He had a horse come sniffing around. He had a coon. He had a skunk back at his last place. And in his mind, he said, I wasn't thinking I was in Alaska. I was thinking I was still there. And so I did that. Well, like 3 weeks or 4 weeks later, when they got done up there in Alaska and he got back and developed the film, here's this nose of a grizzly as it's going backwards, and you see it's, as it's turning and falling over itself, rolling away. So he stuck the camera out probably about 1.5 feet from the nose of a full-grown grizzly. Too tired to care, I guess. Yeah, those collapsible LED ones work well. Yep, tent lights. Jonathan, Blackie, do you ever have trouble with bank line in your pack getting tacky? Yes, it can in the heat. Just the nature of it, that tar coating can get tacky. So don't put it against something that is going to be damaged by it. I try to, in my little cordage pouch, I have about a 50-foot hank of number 36 bank line in there for my disposable cordage. And it stays in there with the other cordage. That way, if it did leak a little, it's on cordage. It's not going to be on anything else. It's in a separate pouch carried inside the haversack to prevent it from making a black streak or whatever on something in there. Eddie Depp, doing good. Thank you for dropping in. Gray Wolf, yeah, it's amazing how loud they can be. Have you ever heard a moose running on frozen ground? I heard one up north in Maine. Ground was frozen solid, and there was only like that much snow on it. And this moose turned and took off, and it sounded like a team of Clydesdale stampeding. You know, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, my thought would have been avalanche. It was that loud, that thing floppity, 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 taking off. It's amazing how much noise they can make. Gary Graham, hello there. Oh, yeah. Eddie, Blackie, any experience with the Rossi lever actions? I'm looking on getting the Rossi 4570 Trapper 16-inch barrel for deer and bear. I like the Rossis, especially since the company was bought by Taurus, and Taurus was bought by Beretta. So they're all in the same genre now, and they make a really good gun. I have two. I have one in 45 Colt in the short Trapper, and then I've got the full length rifle in 3-7. And so they're well worth it. They do really good. Now I'm gonna tell you though, going to that short 16-inch barrel, if you're wanting a companion gun in bear country, I agree with that. That would be light and handy. But if you're trying to deer hunt at range, the 16-inch barrel is not the way to go. That big heavy bullet needs a longer barrel to stabilize it. So if you can get like the carbine 20-something inch would be better, because those long 45-70 bullets, they've got to have enough to stabilize. And that short 16-inch barrel will not stabilize it as well. It's longer if you're going to try to shoot out to 100 yards. If you're using it for as a companion, it's going to be close, dense cover, where if I get him, he's only going to be 50 yards away. The 16 is perfectly adequate. So, Blackie, is your hat really better at keeping you cool in summer than a boonie hat? Those sweat stains must be miserable. Actually, it is. All I got to do is I dunk this in water, and it's felt, and so it absorbs water, and then it becomes a wet towel. And I put the wet towel on my head, and it evaporative cools. I left boonie hats and went to this, because this, when wet, is far better to keep my head cool than a boonie hat is in the summer. That nylon boonie hat can't get really wet because it's nylon. It doesn't absorb water. It should be wet, but it's only going to evaporate for 10 minutes, and it's done. Get this good and wet, I can put it on my head, and it'll still be damp 3 hours from now in the sun. It makes a difference. And I really am cooler with this than I am that. Just like when I had long hair. Y'all don't know me from having long hair. For a great deal of my life, I had long hair. The young ladies thought it was very attractive on me. When I was a district manager for a multi-billion-dollar company, I had a ponytail that could tuck into my belt. I would run it down the back of my shirt. When I had to be in my dress, formal stuff, I had it, Hope would braid it and put it down the back of my back. So you couldn't tell I had such long hair. But I had, as late as 2005, 2007, I still had a ponytail that went all the way down to the ground. And all the way down to my belt in the back. And with my long hair, my head was cooler than it is with short hair. Because once your hair got wet with sweat, it was a wet towel on your head and you evaporative cool. With short hair, you can't get enough water there to do it. So actually, my head was cooler with all that hair and one of these hats than it was with short hair. whole lot warmer in the winter, I can tell you that. Blackie, when using power decks, what's a good load for a brass frame 44 Navy Colt? Start at about 30 grains and then go up like 5 grains. And if that doesn't work, go to like 2.5, but just up or down. But usually start with 30, and somewhere between 30, 35, 37 is going to be a sweet spot. And that's when you're going to get the best accuracy. 25 to 28 grain in the Navy. That's a good starting point. It can, but I prefer 30 to start, honestly. I have found in my experience, the guns that like below 30 are a much smaller minority than the guns that like 30 and up. And so if I can't find one between 30 and 35, 37, I'll go back down to 25 and come up and find it. But usually that. Whereas with the 36s, I normally start with a 20 grain charge and go up or down until I find where the sweet spot is. Wade, yep, cotton hats work well too. Tennessee Smoky, I hear you. Well, me and Grouch were coming back from a Scottish game one time, and we pulled in to get a steak at this place. And really ritzy place. Of course, Grouch has got money, so he could afford such stuff, and he was treating me. And they brought out this steak, and they gave me this steak knife that would not cut. The steak was tender, but this knife was as dull as a butter. You could look at it and see where somebody had been cutting on a ceramic plate, and like you could beat the edge. It was almost blunt. And so I laid it up there, and I pulled a buck 110 out of my pocket and went to slicing my steak up. And Grouch on the other side of the table said, "Let me see that when you're done." And I finished and handed it to him because his knife was dull too. Well, the maitre d' comes running over. "Oh, sir, da, 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 da." And Grouch said, "We're just cutting up our steaks. We're not threatening anybody. We're going to put the knife back up. We're done." Here comes the manager. "Sir, you're not allowed to have da 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 da." And Grouch looked up at him, spun it around where it was straight down, went, well, boom, and harpooned it into the table. Oh, yeah, and said, suddenly Grouch became the biggest redneck. "We just cutting up dinner, that's all. We've been eating possum so long, we're not really civilized." He went into that, and I played along with it. Oh, we never went back there, I put it that way. They didn't call the law, but we had a good fun laugh with it. But he just harpooned it right in that dick. I mean, that table's going to have a mark from now on. Blackie, I'm thinking about getting a 357 rifle for an anything in the woods gun. Is it still a viable option, or is there a better choice? I really like the 357. It gives you the maximum versatility because if you put, as I've talked about before, 38 and 357 ammunition loaded from the factory is expected to go into a 4 or 6 inch barrel gun. Hot loads are expected to go into 6-inch barrels. And so the powder choice they use to get those velocities on that box is representative of that. When you put it into a longer rifle barrel, it's a lock breech. It doesn't have a cylinder gap, lose pressure. All that pressure now goes out the barrel. So usually a 38 special will gain 300 to 500 feet per second by loading it in that rifle. So a 38 special in the rifle, when you pull the trigger, the power that comes out down the barrel is equal to the 357 handgun. When you put a 357 into it, the power coming out is equal to a 30-30. So I hand load taking a 38 special and just putting a round ball in it and just a little bit of powder, and it leaves the barrel at about 1,000 feet per second. I can shoot rabbits and squirrels with that. I drop a standard 38 into it, and I can drop deer at close range, and I can handle any other small game, pig or whatever. I drop a full power hand load 357 into it, and at 100 yards, I can drop anything in the North American continent, because it'd be the power of a 357 maximum, actually. And they have used 357 magnums to drop grizzlies and moose and everything else in the past. Proper bullet placement is the most important thing. And notice I said 100 yards or less. This is not a long-range gun. But if you're hunting in thick brush and you want a gun that does just about everything, a 357 would be an excellent choice, because it makes it so easy to dial up or down just by the ammunition you put into it. Oh, cool. Christopher Evans. Sounds good. All right, now hold on. I had a 357 and 92. It wouldn't stop a dang jackrabbit. Shot 3 nice deer, and it wouldn't recover any of them. No blood trail. I've dropped 12 whitetail and at least a dozen, maybe 2 dozen hogs of over 300 or 400 pounds with a 357 rifle, and had no problems. Why did you cut your hair? Business. I had got into a professional type thing where I no longer could hide it. I had to get rid of it. So I had to cut my hair. Yeah, Tennessee smoke. That's just it. They get scared over nothing now. Wait, that's correct. It can be correct. The 410, which is a 41 caliber, actually isn't 44 Magnum. It's 41 Magnum. Is the ballistics you get out of it coming out of a rifle, and can be very usable. But again, it comes down to your choice, what you're confident with. I have hunted with a 45-70. I've hunted with muzzleloaders. I've hunted with 38s. I've hunted with 357s, 30-30s, 30-06, 308s, some weird calibers you've never heard of, and it just comes down to, are you practiced? Are you good? Can you put it where you need to go? But even then, there's always that luck factor. I had a good friend named Jerry. Jerry was older than us boys, and he was a farmer over at Elba. And he had his deer on opening day of deer season before 8 a.m. for 18 years straight. And he would give us the right act. I don't know what y'all put all this effort into this stuff. You just get up, go out to the woods, shoot the deer, bring it home, clean it, and then go do a day's work. There's no sense making any big deal about this. Of course, he was a farmer. He knew every deer on his land. They knew him. They were just about pets. They didn't fear him or the sound of his truck, because he was always going around there. They were used to him. They were comfortable with him. Then came the year he shot, and he didn't get his deer. He hit him, and the deer turned and ran off. That 270. Jerry was a damn fine shot with a 270. Deer just got away. Well, I would not say we didn't give him a little bit of hell over the fact he didn't have his deer on opening morning by 5 a.m. And in the course of that hunting season, he tried repeatedly, and he shot 4 deer total, counting that first one. Didn't get a one of them. The last one, on the last day, as the sun's going down, this doe came out. He shot her, and she ran up the road and into the county road where the 18-wheeler hit her and smeared her. He didn't get that deer either. It was a jinx. Of course, we were riding him pretty hard about that. So the season has just been over, and he contacted me, knew I did guns and everything, and he said, I want a gun that if I hit her anywhere, she's going down for the count. Well, half joking, I said, all right, let me look around. So I called up all the gun shops, telling them the story, and everybody was laughing. There's finally this guy up in Montgomery at a gun shop I know said, I have got the gun for you. And it was a Winchester and 4.57, which is meant to go to Africa to shoot like wildebeest and zebra and rhino and stuff like that. I mean, it's like a 45-70 on steroids. And they said, I got one. I'll sell you. So I called Jerry up, knowing he ain't going to take that. I said, oh, don't worry, Jerry. I found the gun. And I told him. He said, let's go get it. And I said, no, Jerry, wait a minute. This is an elephant gun. This isn't for whitetail in Alabama. Forget it. He said, I want the gun. Let's go get it. So we drove up there. He paid for the gun. They also had the dies and stuff, and like, I think 60 rounds of brass. And we hand loaded for that thing. And we were taking pine trees that big around and hitting them and just busting the pine tree, and the pine tree would come down. These rounds were just absolutely devastating. And it was like pulling both barrels on a 12 gauge 3-inch magnum. You pull the trigger. It was brutal. Opening morning, I had to go with him. I got to see this. And we were sitting in his field watching this certain area with all this activity. And right at first dawn, there was this little bitty old 3-point spike. You know, one this way and two on that one, came out and was quartering up about 75 yards from us. And Jerry hit him, shot that deer and hit it right at the back of the jaw. It was angling away from us. It hit it and the head just disappeared. And there was no head on it. And it didn't fall over. The carcass just kind of stiff-legged and didn't know it was dead yet. Jerry jumped up and went to work in the bolt to shoot it again. I said, it's dead. It's still standing. And it finally fell over. That broke the jinx. And he got 2 more deer that year with his old 270. He sold that 4.57 elephant gun. But it was just a jinx, you know. I've seen deer get hit rock solid with something that should just drop them like that and then trot off in the woods like nothing happened. And I have seen big animals get hit with something insignificant and go down like they were poleaxed. Placement and luck. Biggest thing. 458. That's it. Correct, Justin. 458 Winchester mag. Oh, yeah. Got to go with him. I got to see this. You bet. Oh, yeah, Wade. The 458s for Africa. Oh, yeah. The 416 Remington. I had one of those. That was the most brutally kicking gun I ever had. Oh, it is. That's more than enough gun for them big bucks. Crispy, hello there. But my good friend Dan Lutz, and he said, y'all's is little deer in Alabama. Yeah, our deer are smaller than ours. Ours are around 200 pounds, is a pretty good size one. I've seen bigger. I've seen a lot smaller too. And the whitetails up in Indiana, Ohio, they're a lot bigger. They're up to 400 pounds. You know, but they're a lot dumber too, because your hunting season's only 1 week, because, you know, they'll walk right out in broad daylight in a cornfield. That never happens down here. The whitetails down here are considered to be one of the most intelligent of the bunch, even to the point that at dusk, the does will walk, they'll keep like a phalanx, a circle around the buck. And the does will come out first and look back at him. They will play vanguard to protect the buck. And that buck you've been drooling over, you seeing all the pictures and everything, he won't step out in daylight for nothing. You'll never get a shot at him. The does will sit there and look at you. So. Oh no, common sense Karen. Sorry to hear he dropped a tree on his leg. Two guys nose arts. Good night. Thanks for dropping in. I got 2 deer with 1 shot one time. Me and my stepbrother were hunting. I had seen that buck 6-point, and we were only allowed to shoot bucks back then. You weren't allowed to shoot does except the week of Christmas. There was 1 week you were allowed to shoot does. And there was a sunken road, the road, gone down in the dirt, so to speak, going through this thing. So ground level, like, came up on the side 6-8 feet, and then came back down to that road, went through that rut where it made the road along the edge of the field. And I saw the deer, that 6-point, go into that tree line, and just inside that tree line is an old fire break where they had gone through the bulldozer like 10 or 12 years before and cut a fire break. And so he's following that fire break, and he come up and popped up around that tree looking toward me. And I'm probably about 125 yards out. And I hit him with that 30-06 dead center of the chest. Well, he's kind of not dead on, he's kind of at a quarter. But I hit him so it would line up. And it hit, and it did exactly what I wanted. It went through the heart, took care of him. It then exited back up under his ribs. And another 10 yards behind him was a doe standing there I didn't see, and it hit her right on top of the head. So we get down there to it, and stepbrother took the truck and we put it down there. Well, where it is, the bank's about 6 feet up, 6-7 feet up from where we stopped. And you can see the buck laying there. So the idea was we'll pull the truck up real good and we'll just pull him down, right? And so he pulled the pickup up real close, and I could stand up on the edge of the pickup truck and be able to reach up here and grab a hold of his horn. But there had been a piece of barbed wire, and he was hung up on the barbed wire. So the stepbrother went down further down the road and hopped up and come back up. And he gets up there, and he stood on the barbed wire and picked the deer up a little bit so we could pull him, and plump, he went into the truck. And he said, wait a minute, we got the other one. I said, what other one? And that's when he pulled the doe up, that he could see her laying there. She was hit right in the forehead. So 1 shot, 2 deer, pure luck. And thank God it was the week of Christmas you could legally do it. So. Oh, comedy. Yeah, I've done that several times. I've had where fish go dancing, and another one grab hold, and there'd be one with 2 sets of treble hooks, and you'd have 2 fish fighting on the same bait. Cool. I guess it's just cause I've been kind of cooped up all summer because of my health. I couldn't get out in the heat as much. I've got cabin fever, and I am ready to go camping. And I've been going out early in the morning. I've been sitting out on the back deck at night, just enjoying the cool and the stars. And I am ready for hunting season. And Bear has been wanting us to take muzzleloaders and go squirrel hunting and stuff like that. So that's coming really soon. We'll be doing that, and probably going to do some deer hunting this year as well. Down there, might go for a hog. We'll see. Got to fill up the freezer. I'm just got that itch because it's cooling off now. I want to get out in the woods. Do I bow hunt? I used to bow hunt quite a bit, but I have not bow hunted in years. In fact, I was an archery instructor for the Boy Scouts for several years. But I had a hickory bow that I built that I used, and I got rid of it probably 15 years ago, and I have not been serious ever since. I played with it some, but I'm just not into it like I once was. Ricky, yes, I have noticed a decline in it. It really has. In fact, I did a video about that where I had ordered bank line, not from Self Reliance, but from other sources like 2 or 3 times. And all I got was black nylon cord. It didn't have any tarring on it to matter. And you could tie a knot and just wiggle it and it'd come right back out. And so Madison Pool at Bombproof Bushcraft had actual tarred American made bank line. And so I did a video letting people know about that if you're actually looking for it, get it from them. So uh, Self Reliance carries that company. I can't name the company right off the top of my head. I'm sorry. But there is a difference. And the good tarred bank line is sometimes can be a little bit of hit and miss. Unless I can pick the spool up and look at it and make sure it's not just black nylon, which we know a lot of stuff's being made overseas. And black nylon is not the same as tarred bank line. There's a difference. Knot holding is a big part. Gary, good night. Cow Tipper, you made it. Oh, cool. You got a Kodiak Magnum signed by Ted Nugent. I don't know. Check at Bombproof Bushcraft. I think it's bombproofbushcraft.com, Madison's business. Just give them a holler and see if they got it. But tell them I want the real bank line like Blackie gets. And that's where I normally order mine. You know, I'd see her at an event, I'd get it. Had I gone to the gather thing, I'd have got more. I got a tub of it back here. I made a purchase. I think I got like $100 worth of bank line at one time. Just I knew what this was. This was legitimately tarred. I got it in a couple of different sizes, and that took care of me. So I got like a 5-year supply. I hear you, Charles Martin. That's it. You really want to look for, try searching. That's just a guess now, but try searching for fishing net repair twine, because that tarred bank line is used for making fishing nets, like ocean going fishing nets. See if that brings it up, you know. Tim Lacey, am I going to be doing a flint and steel video anytime soon? I can put that on the list right now. Yeah, I can do that for you. I did 25 years doing that for living history. That's it. Cartahula Bank Line. That's it. Cartahula. Catahoula. Catahoula. Like a Catahoula cur dog. I know that name. Night night, Justin. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, marlin. Yeah, because it was for fishing nets. Ooh, yeah, dove poppers. That was always the first of the season would be everybody going on the social. Somebody is having a dove shoot on their farm, and here'd be the cousins, here'd be whatever, and we'd get together, and you know, it'd be on Saturday morning because it would be going from sun up to 12, and sometimes it'd be 12 to sundown. It'd be whatever the rule was. They didn't let you go sun up always sundown. They'd limit how long you could hunt, and it was a big social event. Everybody going. And when I sold hunting and fishing licenses at Walmart, opening day, every time, where it's going to start at 12 o'clock noon and go to sundown. At 11 o'clock, I'd have a line of 20 or 30 people lining up to get their hunting license because they hadn't got it. And they'd be standing there in line. I'm selling one right after the other. And there'd be some redneck every year would come running all the way to the front of the line like nobody's standing there and throw his license down and say, I need a hunting license. I'm going dove hunting. Yes, sir. Get in line. So is these 30 people right here. But Uncle Versi and Aunt Anna's waiting for me in the truck. I got to go. Yep. Everybody the same way. Get to the end of the line. Every year it was somebody that did that. Every year. You know, it's like it snuck up. Who knew that it was going to be a hunting season starting in September? Oh, it just snuck up on us. Yeah, that Catahoula is the one I was talking about. They make really good stuff. Bang, bang, bushcraft. Didn't see you got in. Well, Tim Poole posted a thing, I think it was yesterday. The president's big, beautiful bill, remember they said was no tax on Social Security, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. They're expanding it to no tax on super chats. That's considered a tip in YouTube. See, before, if you went and on a super chat or whatever, you donated $5, let's say $10, that goes to YouTube, and they take their cut out of it, and then they hand me what's left. See, I'm not that big. It ain't that big a thing for me. But like the big channels like Dave and Sean and all of them, they getting quite a bit of that super chat money. Well, now they said you can't do that. That's a tip. And so that goes to them. No taxes, no nothing. It goes in its entirety to them. That's a tip. And so it counts. And so that's going to really help out a lot of YouTube channels that are doing stuff, doing live chats and things where people are donating to them. Now they get to keep that money. It isn't, they get their cut and you get what's left. Now you get to get it. And so that was announced the other day. So that's going to be really good for a lot of these channels. Not so much me. I don't get a whole lot of super chats. But if you got somebody you really like their channel and you're doing super chats with them, know that your money now goes to them. So the person that you wanted to go to is getting all of it. And I think that's the way it should have been from the beginning. But exactly, comrade, they got to pay their taxes. Well, guys, it's been a actually you won't, Chris. The way YouTube is set up and everything, you've got a three-sided argument going on here. YouTube has their agenda. We're not going to go into that, but they have their agenda. Okay? Thank you very much, Count the Days. They they want it to be like TikTok. They want you to do 3-minute videos, fast, quick 3-minute videos. You know, following their agenda is what they really want. That's what they want. Over here is the advertiser. You're wanting to put a video, a advertisement on a video. You're going to put a 30-second advertisement on a 1.5-minute video. How many advertisements can you put on that video? One, maybe. you'll see nothing but video, nothing but advertisements then. That's what you see on TikTok, stuff like that. They want long content like I do. So Ford, Chevy, and a lot of them like me because I'm not controversial, I'm not political, and so they like to do stuff on mine. So that gets me a better paycheck. And I've got a long video. So I do like I'm doing my Master Woodsman. Those are 1 hour or thereabout videos. How many advertisements can you put on it? So they want my stuff. See, me as the creator, I can do 200 1-minute videos, or I can do 5 really good videos and really do a deep dive and do content. I'm trying to show you and share information where I'm explaining it to you and you really get where I'm going with it. I take the time to really go into it. It takes as long as it takes for me to cover it. I don't care about the time. And that means that from the advertiser's point of view, they like me. YouTube don't like that, but they don't have a choice because they want to advertise to me. And so you don't see that much. My channel shouldn't add many more because of the content and etc. Whereas those TikTok things, those little shorts of 30 seconds and etc., it's going to be 5 commercials, 1 video, 5 commercials. Nobody's going to want to watch the short ones because they don't get to watch them. All they're going to get to see is the video, is the commercials, you know. Whereas long content, you get a bigger hunk of information before you got the video. But you can just skip past the commercial. It's going to be a changing world, but I think it's going to work out. I didn't start this channel to make money. I started this channel to share and to really to answer you guys' questions and try to reach out and help people. That was my goal. It was never about making a business. It is a business. It is how I make my living, but the money was never it. It's just a nice side benefit to me. And so I just keep doing what I'm doing. Yeah, never stop learning. And that's just it. I mean, like Bang Bang said there, we did something. I think he makes a good product, and I'm willing to promote and say, here, I don't have to make nothing out of it. You know, I don't, I need a cut of this and all that. No, that ain't the way this works. And so it allows me to see stuff, communicate stuff, and etc. That's my goal. Money's just a side. Yep, correct. Well, guys, that's been a little over an hour and a half. I guess we need to end it right there. I cooked supper tonight, did spaghetti, so I still got to run back and clean the kitchen up, or she's going to get on to me. Thank y'all for tuning in. I will be on next Thursday night, and thank you so much. I really enjoy the chat. I look forward to this every week. I really do. And hopefully really soon we'll get to see each other. Now, future reference, I am doing my gathering this coming October 15th to the 19th at Geneva State Forest Lake. Come out and camp with me. Have fun. Till next time, guys, God bless, be safe, and have a great weekend. Talk to you later.